Papa Squad, coming at ya. Hey there, everybody. We got a great song today. I haven't heard it at all, but I know it's going to be good. I'm actually really excited about this. It's by a guy named Chip E. Chip E is a Chicago-born musician, um, born Erwin Larry Eberhart II, better known as Chip E. Born in 1966, so he is 54, 55 years old. Uh, Known for the genres of pop music, contemporary music, R&B, dance, and house music. And as we know from previously, house music originated in Chicago, and he is known as the godfather of house music. He started spinning records in 1982. By 1984, he was producing records. 1985, Street Mix magazine declared Chippy as the godfather of house music. In 1987, he became the first and still the only Chicago artist to be in regular rotation on the three major Chicago radio stations, WBMX, WGCI-FM, and B96. Former B96 programming manager Joe Bohannon, known as Jobo, terrible name, made the decision to add If You Only Knew, one of Chippy's songs, to regular rotation, and with that began the transition from the station from contemporary hit radio to dance music, to a dance music station. So, which is actually super significant, at least in my mind, that seems really significant because radio stations tend to concentrate on a specific genre of music, right? I'm sure you've encountered this. You turn the radio and you find a country station, you find contemporary hits, you find dance music, you find R&B, you find progressive. Like they concentrate on a certain thing. It, for one thing, makes radio really predictable. It also makes it really frickin' boring. I love when radio stations do a huge variety of music. Anyway, because they started playing that song, it was popular apparently, and the whole station transferred over to dance music. This song in particular came out in 1986, I want to say. And let's see a little bit more about Chip E. He stopped recording music in 95. Okay, so then not in 96, unless it released later. Stopped recording music in 95 and started doing DJ work in Britain and Italy. God, that must suck. And he had moved there and also moved into the realms of mythology, which, whatever this Wikipedia writer means by that, I am unclear on, but I assume what they mean is he stopped recording music and instead became sort of this mythological figure for people who did dance and house music and that sort of stuff. If you look here, I always do that. If you look right here, this is Chip E. I don't think you can. Okay, so the guy furthest from my finger is Carl Cox, who's one of his collaborators, and the guy nearest my finger. I can't talk. Nearest my finger is Chip E, and the white dude in the middle, who you can see, thanks cameras for being racist, is Martin Garrix. So Martin Garrix has been very, very popular, not maybe in the last couple of years, I haven't heard much from him, but maybe in the last decade, maybe not even, but very totally EDM electronic music, and so I'm excited about this song because I'm hoping it's very electronic-y, because I happen to like that sort of music quite a lot, and I especially like it when it's combined with something like early hip-hop. I just think that stuff's fantastic. Chippy's worked with tons of people, such as Michael McDonald, kind of a weird thing, Fleetwood Mac, also seems very weird to me, Prince, The Dead, not familiar with them, I don't think it's the Grateful Dead, and the Black Eyed Peas. He also produced, or someone produced, a documentary entitled The Unusual Suspects Once Upon a Time in House Music, which came out in 2005 that I definitely want to find. Anyway, he's done all sorts of different stuff. There's a fantastic picture of him right here with a keytar. I mean, come on. Nothing goes wrong with a keytar. Yeah, it does. Keytars are weird instruments. But anyway, I'm there for it because I love this sort of music and just the weird kind of electronic-y stuff that... not natural instruments, right? find it super interesting that we're able to have these sounds and this music now that does not have any origin in the real world. It's totally cool. What we're going to listen to today is a song from Chippy called Time to Jack. I don't think they're talking about masturbating, but I could be wrong. I assume what they're talking about is either time to jack, like time to have a great time, or time to jack in, like to the Matrix, which, this would have been before the Matrix by a long time. But it was still an idea people had, that there would be something like that. And the internet certainly existed then. It was just very, very not at all what it is today. But let's jump in here. The song is just about 6 minutes long. I'm sure it's going to have a very electronic-y feel. So let's do it. Chip E, Time to Jack, 1985, just about 6 minutes.
Time to jack.
Time to jack.
Time to jack. Tap, 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 time to jack.
Oh yeah.
Tap, 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 time to jack.
Keep in mind, this is considered hip-hop.
Time to jack. 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 Jack, 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 jack,
So even this, super repetitive, right? But I think it's really important to remember that this is very early on in sort of the whole electro style. Well, it's actually after, kind of at the tail end of electro and before the growth of a lot of what became electronica and EDM. And this repetitiveness is something that, I mean, even up through, and especially up through like Fatboy Slim, super repetitive. But it's really about kind of making the whole song feel like a big electronic song that has weird stuff going on with it. And so I can absolutely forgive the repetitiveness because it's so early on. They were making this up as they went along. Kind of a neat beat to it. Just this duh, 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 totally Depeche Mode kind of feel to it, absolutely in that vein, but is not considered the same type of music, which is crazy. And again, he's still doing the same thing of like introducing concepts and phrases, repeating them, building on them, cutting back to nothing, and then building back up again. So it's the same sort of production to the music in terms of how it's arranged, just a completely different feel to it. I do wish there was more to this, though. So that part where he's saying Jack, 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 Jack reminds me of the music, the intro to Samurai Jack, which was a fantastic cartoon. Yeah, I mean, for what it is, it's super interesting. It's not the greatest song I've ever heard, but the fact that this came out in 1985, and I can absolutely see how this sort of music then gives birth to things like trance and acid jazz and trip house and like all sorts of other stuff, because people found things that they liked about this, and then they started kind of mutating it and adapting it and changing it and turning it into what they wanted to do with it. And this is like house music as some of its earliest stuff, and it's not the best music ever, but it is showing off this sort of the innovation and creativity that nobody's really seen before, or at least this is very, very early days of it. And so this sort of music, even though it's not a song I want to listen to a ton because there's just not a lot to it, I can absolutely see how somebody would hear this and go, wait a minute, like, I can do something with this and make something really cool and different and new. And again, Like I said about Blowfly the other day, that's what makes this super interesting. I love finding stuff like this. I just love it, and it actually really ticks me off that I grew up an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Chicago, and had no idea this sort of stuff was going on. Because man, I would have loved it. I just would have loved to have been a fan of it, and I would have loved to have had a hand in like or going to see shows, like just anything that would have been fantastic. But I don't think I went to Chicago. Like I said, grew up probably about an hour and a half away. I don't even know. First time I went to Chicago, I was probably well into my teens, maybe even 20 years old. Uh, Really cool, just for what it is and just for what it introduced to music in general. I like it, and I want to find more stuff by Chip E because I bet he's got some really cool stuff. I hope you like this. Let me know what you think. Very, very different than a lot of the Chicano music we've been listening to. Very different from what we heard yesterday or the day before, Lighter Shade of Brown. Certainly different from Thuggin'. Certainly, like, it's incredible the different styles of music that are all lumped into this hip hop family of music, genre of music, and it's so cool to go back and revisit this stuff. Thank you once again, Papa Squat. Checking out. Please like, subscribe, and share. I do appreciate it. See you soon. That's all I gotta say. For now. More later.